When a crisis hits any country, it's women and children who become the most vulnerable. In Sri Lanka, public schools have halted the midday meal that was given to nearly 1 million students, which used to be an incentive for school attendance. This has resulted in abject hunger hitting children at the most important time of their growth. Former Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Dr. Tara De Mel, is collaborating on some programs in a bid to ensure that children, our country's future, are nourished in both body and brain. Tara, welcome to Seylan Life. Let's talk. As I mentioned, in a crisis, the most vulnerable are women and children. And in this instance, let's discuss children. How badly are children impacted due to the crisis?
And let me rewind back to March 2020, when schools closed and children were shuttered out of education for nearly 20 months. And I think you know that accessibility to the internet and devices and online education was less than for about 40% of the students. So they were affected very badly by losses in learning due to the pandemic. Then when the pandemic wound down, they came back to school in November 2021. The economic crisis hit from January due to transportation issues, due to fuel, problems connected to escalation of food prices, lack of availability of milk powder food, and a whole gamut of issues. Children are now not attending school, particularly from the rural, marginalized, underprivileged areas. So that's how much the kids have been affected. Hunger is a huge issue, and teachers are now saying that it's very difficult to find children who have had 3 meals a day, or at least the morning meal before they come to school. So it's a very tragic affair, and this is something that I think is going to have a long-lasting impact on the education system of Sri Lanka.
You mentioned hunger. If we do look at hunger, what are the short-term and long-term implications?
Children's brains grow the fastest, the most phenomenal growth in brain cell generation happens during childhood. So does learning. Learning also happens best during childhood. So when a child is deprived of food and he comes to class, you couldn't expect much learning to happen. So we are going to stunt the child in terms of physical stunting or acute wasting. At the same time, we are going to stunt their learning capacity. What's going to happen long term? So they are going to grow up with a smaller capacity for understanding, smaller capacity for learning, huge learning gaps they already inherited due to the pandemic. So they are going to be a group of young people who are undereducated, underskilled, or maybe unskilled, who are going to leave school. This is the long-term answer. Enter a society that is harsher economically, as we all know, and frustrated. And who knows, they may even be tempted into sinister, violent, aggressive movements. So it's a very dangerous situation for Sri Lanka. There is no contribution towards the economic growth. In fact, it's a contribution towards the contraction of the economy, which is already happening in Sri Lanka.
So you've started this community meal share project. Tell me, how does it work and how can we help?
We identified some impoverished areas in the Badula district. As you know, Uva province is a very high poverty area. And also we looked at some of the areas in Jaffna, in the northern province, Jaffna education zone in particular, and 1 or 2 schools in the Javadhanapura zone in the Colombo district. So it will be a simple menu that is suggested to the principal. The principal gets the parents in the school on rotation to prepare the meals on site. So the meals are given at least 2 or 3 times a week. We started this for 8 to 10 weeks only, but I'm really hoping that it's going to continue. So another CBO, actually it's a research organization, agro-based research organization, is very interested to do research also on this type of program. So we have launched a similar program with them. That launch will happen on the 20th of June. Again, 15 schools. Donations are coming in. I'm thrilled about it. But I am sincerely hoping it's not going to stop there.
Good luck, Tara. I know it's an uphill task, but I'm sure given the project itself and the principles behind it, it will work. We don't want our generations to go back, not just in education, but in nutrition as well. So thank you very much and bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Keep us on your radar, subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn.
Making all your new goals in life a reality is why our strength is your strength. With 12 billion rupees worth of customer benefits in 2020 and a life insurance fund worth over 100 billion rupees, our strength is your strength. You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Seylan Life.